You're listening to The Rich Life Revolution with me, Michelle Cooper. My mission is to empower you to step into your next level of wealthy. You'll hear all the deets, a little bit of inspiration, and real life takeaways so that you can create your own rich life revolution. Let's dig in. Hey girl, hey, welcome to the Rich Life Revolution. I am your host, Michelle, and today we're going to talk about ditching the hustle and grind culture and stepping into alignment with your truest self with my guest, Hannah Chapman. Hannah is a financial planner and a human design queen. And we're going to take a deep dive into the magic of human design and how it can transform your life and your business based on our personal stories. Hannah left the corporate world, as did I, to parenting with intention. That's what I tried to do. I don't know that I was super successful at that, but Hannah's going to share how understanding her energetic blueprint unlocked her permission to live authentically. And although my journey in this came substantially after I started my family, I really have come to understand how living in alignment with my human design has helped me achieve more faster. So whether you're a generator, a manifesting generator, or just someone searching for clarity, this episode is packed with actionable insights and empowering wisdom to guide you towards a richer, more aligned life. You'll want to take notes in this episode because we're going to dive in to what human design is and why it's a game changer for you. We're going to talk about the key to making aligned decisions based on your energy type. We're also going to talk about embracing and celebrating your unique energetic blueprint. Hannah will tell us how she uses human design to help entrepreneurs build businesses they love. And of course, the magic of letting go, leaning into alignment and trusting the process. So let's take a listen. Hey, Hannah, how are you today?
I am so good, Michelle. I'm so excited to be here with you and talking with you again. So much fun.
Yeah, I know, me too. Guilty side note, Hannah and I have been spending a lot of time together recently. She's come and provided excellent support to a couple of my communities, and I've been on her podcast. And so like we're all up in each other's grill kind of thing.
Yes. Give me more. It's great.
Right. And we're like sisters from another mister at this point. So I can't wait. One day we'll be in person together and it will be amazing.
Yes.
So today we're going to talk about human design. We're going to talk about how you and I both use human design to, live our lives, to create our business and work in our business, and perhaps maybe touch on how we discovered human design and what was going on in our lives at that point. But also, I want to kind of touch in on and maybe kick it off with something we were talking about before I hit the record button, which was the piece around people not wanting to just settle anymore, right? Like I feel this energy out there. I definitely see it in the employment marketplace, being a business owner. I see it in, my clients' lives. I see it in my friends, where it's not enough now to just settle for what you've got or what, your parents wanted for you, or, the situation you're in, or, this awesome job that landed on your doorstep. And then you're like, right. Can you share with us your thoughts on that and how that, because I know that has impacted you in leaving corporate and in stepping into, your own business and entrepreneurship?
Yeah, absolutely. I think this is such a social moment, societal moment
Hmm.
that we're having where, you know, it's not even just the younger generation, right? I have heard a lot about, Gen Z and younger millennials no longer subscribing to this, grind it out, climb the corporate ladder, all of that. In those generations, yeah, absolutely. I'm an elder millennial, technically, but I work with clients who are younger boomers, Gen X, who have this exact same feeling now. This feeling of I'm done working for money in a way that feels bad to my soul and to my heart, and in a way that's bad for my physical and mental health and well-being. There is absolutely a line being drawn right now that people are just they're done giving
Hmm.
away their life force to corporations that don't give a shit about them, and they're seeing that. They're like really, really seeing it. So whether that turns into entrepreneurship, like it did for me and for a lot of my clients, or it turns into, working for a business that you align with their values. And maybe the CEO is a very heart-centered person and you want to support them, right? That's what it has, like, that's where a shift is happening in a really big way right now, um, across the board. And like I
Hmm.
said, I mostly work with entrepreneurs, and almost all of them have the leaving corporate story where it's like, I, it was the same for me. I couldn't be me. I couldn't be myself. I had to pretend to be something else, and I couldn't do it anymore.
Right. Right. I was similar. I really struggled. Like early on in my career, I loved it. Right. I loved my corporate life. I had amazing jobs. All my jobs were amazing. Right. Um, but then I had a life shift. So I became a mom, and I realized that, and I tried several different ways to make it work. I tried going back full time. I tried job sharing. I tried a variety of things, right? And I just realized that it didn't feel good anymore. Actually, suffered um, quite bad postpartum depression, trying to force myself back into, my corporate life, which I think is a common story, common
Yeah.
experience, right?
Yeah.
Um, and and then I had multiple children, and I basically realized I just can't do this. Like I cannot, and I didn't know what else to do, right? Like I wish back then I had known about human design, right? I didn't know about this stuff back then. Like I knew about astrology, but more in like oh, let's see if me and the latest guy I'm hanging out with are compatible kind of.
Yeah.
um I I remember having a big book at some point of astrology, like you could like an Aries and a Taurus, do they match kind of thing, and me and my friends would sit around and talk about that. But I didn't really understand the complexities of all of this stuff. uh, Astrology, moonology, human design, gene keys, like it's all really important for us to understand ourselves better, right?
Yeah.
And they're tools that help us do that, right? So, yeah, I wish I learned about it sooner. So, if you're younger and you're listening,
Oh my gosh. Yes,
figure it out.
absolutely. Absolutely. And I have a similar, experience with motherhood, with I have 3 children. My oldest is 13 now. And when she was born, I was the main breadwinner. My husband was in grad school at that point, and I went back to work. I had planned to go back to work at was it 8 weeks? Um, and start like easing back in. I started easing back into my job at 6 weeks. And
Right?
I was back up to like 20 hours within a couple of weeks. And within the month, I was back to 40 hours a week, working from home with my newborn. We didn't I didn't have daycare. We didn't have family. So I was working with my newborn. My husband was, anytime he didn't have class, he was he was helping, taking her, doing all, like we were an absolute team, but I did not even realize how bad the postpartum depression was until it lifted. It was like
Right.
this like dark fog that was over my entire life until she was about 13 months old. And suddenly it's like the sky, literally, it felt like the sky was blue again. I was like, whoa, what happened? I was like, wow, that was rough for 13
Right.
months.
Yeah.
And then I found out I was pregnant with our second baby, and I was like, oh my God, how do I do that again? Um,
Right.
it was a lot. But anyway, yeah. So I mean, I definitely have lived through that as well, and didn't find human design until, so I was 26 when I had my youngest. I didn't find human design until I was about 35, 36. And it was so affirming. I feel like when I saw it, when I read it, when I like read my initial report, maybe like 6 or 7 page report that like tells you about, I was crying. It just felt so recognized. This like the
Yeah.
feeling of, this is me, and I'm not wrong. There's nothing wrong with me, was like the most overwhelming piece of it. That it just, this like document was like reflecting back what I knew about myself already.
Yeah.
It's like permission to be me is
Right.
what it felt like.
Totally. For me, human design, when I first, got my chart and the little book that you kind of get if you, go a little bit deeper, the kind of like very masculine part of my brain that wants to figure all these things out got very caught up in the chart and very overwhelmed with the chart. And so then I would like, I don't understand this. I don't get it. I can't do this. I put it down. Um, and then I found Gene Keys.
Mm.
And I was like, oh, now for me, it felt like there was hope. Like, oh, like I get it now, right? Like, um, this is what's possible for me, right? And so slightly different experience for you than you, but still, kind of similar of like, oh, like you can breathe out for a minute and go,
Yeah.
can relax for a sec, right? This is, I don't know, quote unquote normal or whatever for me.
For me, yes. And that was, so when I first discovered human design, I had been studying the Enneagram a little bit and wasn't quite connecting with it.
Oh yeah, me too.
Partly because I thought I was a 3, and I've later found out that I'm a 1 in the Enneagram, which makes so much more sense. But I thought I was a 3. I wasn't really connecting with it, and I heard a podcast actually, where they were talking about all kinds of random stuff. But one of the things that the guest said was, I started with Enneagram and I didn't really connect with it. And then I found human design, and that was the thing for me. And I was like, oh, well, I'm not really connecting with the Enneagram either. Maybe so Google human design. And from that little introduction, I went full, like head first into the rabbit hole. And I was not intimidated by the chart. I was like in
Inspired.
inspired. I couldn't be satiated.
Right.
I wanted every bit of information I could find. I was searching. I created a Word doc actually, and like, this is what this channel is. This is what this gate is. And I found them online and I put them in so I could like, and I pages and pages of typed notes until I couldn't figure it out on my own well enough. And I found someone who could help me.
Right.
And so I worked with her for quite a few months, and we talked about my chart and different things that I was experiencing. And then she introduced me to the connection charts, how I connect with my husband and my kids. That was mind-blowing to me. Learning about my husband's design and mine were very different. And so seeing it like visually represented and then hearing some of those, like the main differences that we have, I was like, oh my God, we don't fight. We've never had, like, we're not we don't fight with each other. But instead, like the ways that we would interact with one another, or the ways that we would not stonewall, but there would be ways that we would not interact, right? And it made everything make so much sense. It was like it was laid out, our relationship, like laid out in front of me. I was like, holy crap, this is. I feel so seen. I feel validated in how I make decisions. I understand now how and why he makes decisions the way he makes them. And it gives space for me to understand. He's not even into it. Like if he had listened to this podcast and like, she's talking about it again. Yeah, I talk about human design literally all the time. And it's fine, right? Like I don't need him. That was the biggest learning for me. I don't need him to care about any of it.
Yeah.
I can show up in my energy as myself and give space for him to be himself. And that is so healing in so many ways.
Totally. Understanding ourselves, like I said, is just such a key, right? Like understanding ourselves better, and then understanding the important people in our lives, right? Like if we can understand their makeup, then like you said, you can give space, right? And not create these weird stories around their reactions or lack of reaction, or, whatever it is, right? Like human beings are really good at creating stories around stuff, right? And those stories are usually based on your conditioning, right? Like they're not real. I just had this conversation with my brother, actually. And I said, well, that's an opinion. That's your opinion. And that's okay. But it doesn't make it fact, right? Like that's your story around this situation. And that's totally fine. But it doesn't make it fact, right?
That's the shadow of gate 17, actually.
You go, right?
Yes, literally. It's the gate of opinions. And the beauty of, everyone has their own opinion, but where's the truth? The truth is somewhere inside of the entire fabric of the story. Your one little piece of experience is not the full truth of anything.
Agreed. Right. And so you and I have both you've definitely gone down the rabbit hole further than I have. But human design is something I use in my life. It's something that my goal is always every year to live more into my human design, or more from my human, like how can I lean further into this? Right. I use it in my business. Right. So when people apply for jobs, need to know what's your chart. Right. And they often don't know what I'm talking about. Right. And it's like, well, get this information and get their chart from them. And sometimes they don't know they don't know their time of birth. That's usually the common thing. Right. But if we can get that information, we can better navigate their role in the company, right? We have a little map, right? Like we want all the profiles in there, right? Like can't just have a company of generators.
Right. Yeah. Everyone's energy fills a different spot. And that also helps that person be in alignment. Like I want you to be in alignment with your highest purpose.
Totally.
Right? Totally. That's better for everybody.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So how do you, because you're my human design go-to queen. How are you using this in your life and in your business? Like, okay, we all know we can make decisions from our authority, right? But like, what's the practical things that you do in your life and business?
Oh yeah. So like you, I have had that exact same desire over the last several years, is how do I like know myself even better, lean even more into my design. And for me, so I'm a 6/2 manifesting generator with sacral authority. And that means, when I am most lit up, when my energy is like a full hell yes, that is the thing that I should be doing. And when my energy is waning and saying like, I'm done with this, I need to honor that. So in my experience, so manifesting generators in particular are very good at the pivot, right? And we do have a energy that, like, when it's powerful, it is powerful, and when it's done, it sucks the life out of everything else, right? And so, and I have had that experience where I stayed too long, where I've stayed too long in groups, where I've stayed too long in different places, and I know, I have actually been told this since I was a child. If my energy is low, I actually like pull the whole group down.
Mm.
And so a part of that is, again, knowing myself, knowing my manifesting generator ness. Okay, well, that means that is no longer aligned for me. And since it's no longer aligned for me, it's no longer aligned for everyone else that I be there either. They will actually be better off if I'm not there. And so learning how to let go of commitments, where instead of like, nope, you say you're going to do something, so you keep doing it forever and you never change and you just stay consistent and you just build brick by brick and you never make any big moves, right? That was what I was taught. That was what I was told. I'm a financial planner, right? I'm a CFP. There's so much in my professional history that says like, be steady, be predictable,
Mm-hmm.
be, like, be there forever. Like, you're going to have clients for 30 years or 40 years, right? That might be true, right? There are definitely clients that I have had for many, many years. I still love them. There's no, like, I don't feel any energy around like, we're getting rid of this. But when I know something is no longer aligned and I know it and I don't act on it, it shows up. It shows up in so many places. And so that's one thing for me. What am I doing? What am I creating? That is, again, a hell yes for me. Like, all in, my energy is aligned. I'm lit up. I'm excited. And go with that. Like, allow myself to go with it. That's the easier part, I think. The harder part is, one, the letting go of things that are no longer aligned that once were, right? I used to be, it's because people ask that. Well, it used to be, you were so excited. What happened? And I'm like, well, a million things and nothing at the same time, right? It's just, my energy just isn't there anymore. I can't necessarily explain that perfectly to you, right? It's just, I know that that's no longer aligned. So letting go, getting my energy back, saying no to the things that are no longer aligned has been really, really powerful. And that's one thing that I teach as well when I'm working with my clients, because everyone's energy is a little different in that regard. For generators, not manifesting generators, but just generators, your energy is more like a freight train. Right. So it's really, really important. Once your energy gets going, once you commit to something, it's really hard to reel it back in if it's not correct for you. And so that's, with my generators, it's like, hey, let's make sure this is a real yes. This is a full yes before you get that energy fully moving. Because once you do, it's harder. It's harder to stop a freight
Totally.
train.
And I am a 6-2 generator, right? So with sacral authority. And, as you say this, over the years, I've had sometimes a love-hate relationship with my business, but I'm in it,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I'm like, no, this is it. Like, we just keep going, right? Like, I might change, tweak, or, shift a few things. But lately, I don't know if it's my age because I'm 55 now, but lately I'm thinking about other things now.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not so much of a pivot for me anymore. It feels like there's an ending energy to this core business that feels really natural. I don't know what that looks like, right? Like, I don't know if the business goes up for sale, the employees buy it. Like, I don't know all of that. I don't have to know, but it does feel like a natural ending energy. And if I compare that to times in my history where I felt frustrated in my business or challenged, like a freight train, I just plow through.
Yeah.
Right.
Have you looked at your Chiron return or your Chiron chart?
Oh my God. I think I did a few years ago. I think my Chiron return was last year.
Usually it's right around age 50. Somewhere between like
Okay.
49 and 51, 52.
Yeah, I think it was, yeah. So maybe it was a couple of years ago now.
Yeah. Well, being a
Yeah.
6-2, right, our energy really shifts at our Chiron return. So that 6 energy
Mm.
turns into the full role model that it's meant to be. You come down off the roof and that's our purpose takes a shift, right? And so it's like the purpose that we've had throughout our lifetime all the way up until 50. Mine is the life theme of the rebel. It's my incarnation cross right now. And then when it shifts, I'd have to look it up again, but I think it turns into the right angle cross of service after
Oh.
I turn 50. So I've got 10 years
Oh.
until that. But there's this like there's a definite shift in this was your life purpose before, and now we're making a change. We're doing
Oh,
something new.
that's interesting. That is so interesting because my did you say right angle?
Well, mine it usually is listed on the chart. So my
Oh.
current life theme is the left angle cross of the life theme of the rebel. Um,
Oh, mine's left angle cross of endeavor.
Endeavor. Yeah, so that would actually be your pre-50.
Oh, would it?
So that would be your birth chart, your natal chart. So
Oh.
yeah, since because you're a 6, anyone with a 6 line in their profile. So there's 6 2s, 6 3s, 4 6s. There are a few others. If you have a 6th line in your profile, your energy shifts. You have a 3-phase life where you're in the messing around phase until you're about 30, figuring things out, trying all kinds of stuff. 30 to 50, you're really in the like, all right, I understand what I am. I kind of know where I'm going. I've tried a lot of stuff. I'm gonna center in on this thing, and get really good at it for 20 years. And then when we turn 50, that's where the wisdom, the role model really comes out, and
Mm.
we're ready to share all of the wisdom that we've accumulated. And to be seen for it, to be an educator in some way, shape, or form doesn't mean you're a professor or a teacher, but you're here to be a role model and to teach from your experience, because
Right.
life gives us so much experience. That's what people want to hear from us is,
Right.
what have you done? How have you lived? How have
Mm.
you gotten to where you are? Not so that they can copy you, but so that they can be empowered to live as themselves.
It's so interesting, right? Because like, this year last year I created the podcast, and then this year I created the Rich Life Revolution Mastermind. And I was adamant I was not going to create a coaching program because I don't want to coach people. I just want to provide inspiration and a community for people to be inspired and motivated by the other people and to like support each other, right? Um, and a lot of the ladies in there are like, when I've said, like, why did you decide to join this? They've said, I just want to be around you because I look at your life and it feels like it's something that it's how I want to live, right?
Yeah,
Like this role model kind of energy, right? So that's interesting because I didn't
absolutely.
even know all that and I'm doing it, right?
Yeah. That's one of the things I think is so cool is anyone that I've met who is intentional, right? Like that brings intention to their business, that has the desire to feel better in how they work. Um, typically they are living closer to, right? So when we start talking about their human design or start talking about their gene key sequences and profile, they're like, oh yeah, I totally get that. That feels like me, right? It's not completely foreign, because if someone is 100% in their not self all the time, doing what they, all the shoulds, all the I have to, all the, this is what's expected of me, so there's no other choice. If you're in that energy, you're probably not seeking information of how to be more you, right? And so anyone who's in this kind of like seeking intentional energy, yeah, it's like human design and gene keys just open up the box even further. And so you asked, how else do I actually use it and apply it? So in my own life, I'm always learning and contemplating. What's funny is if something is kind of happening, the intuitive side of my soul and my heart is like it'll like flash a number to me of like, oh, it's this one. Like, you need to go look at gate 20 again, or you need to go look at gate 10 again. And so I'm like, oh, interesting. And so I'll go back to it. I'll go back into it, into the human design, into the gene keys, like into all of it, and read and learn something new. Every single time I'll catch something different and be like, oh, that's the thing for right now. Right.
That's so good.
That's the piece. And so it's similar when I'm working with people as well. I don't do a lot of like didactic teaching. I do sometimes in different workshops, I'll like teach more. But what I'm doing when I'm working with someone in any capacity, whether it's human design coaching or financial planning, I'm listening for what's happening in their life, right? What's actually happening for you right now? What's going on in your business, in your life? And then with the chart there, intuitively, I'm then guided to, hey, we need to talk about this right now. Hey, we need to talk about the fact that your crown and your mind are completely open. Or we need to talk about the fact that you're emotionally defined. Or we need to talk about this particular gate or channel. And that, so we can hone in on the thing that's coming up at that moment. Because in every single piece, one of the reasons I talk about human design and gene keys together is because I feel like human design gives us action steps. It gives us a roadmap. It gives us a lot of really good information. But sometimes it's hard to, sometimes the concepts are very esoteric and they're a little bit hard to grasp. So if we go into the gene keys, so literally we'll use gate 10 as an example. We'll look at gate 10 in the human design, what it means, all of that. And if there's something in there that's still like, I still don't quite get it. If we look at the gene keys, there's a shadow and there's a gift. So there's a shadow energy to every single number on the chart. And the shadow energy is going to tell us, okay, how is this showing up if you are in, a disempowered state in any way, shape, or form?
Right.
You're going to show up in this shadow energy. And so then we can look at that and be like, oh yeah, that's what's going on. Right. I mean, I'm frantic, or I'm making it up. These aren't the actual ones for gate 10. Or I'm judging someone else, right? I'm being super judgy. I'm totally like feeling like I'm smarter than them, or I'm so frustrated with my kids and no one's listening to me, and I'm, throwing myself a pity party, right? Those are all of our disempowered type states. Okay, well, what can we do about that? We can understand what's going on. We can understand the shadow. We can love that piece of us that's currently showing up in that shadowy energy. And then choose, like, read about the gift. Choose to take a step in that gift energy. The gift energy is going to be something like understanding or freedom or resilience, or, right? Like, each gate has its own specific gift, and we can choose. We can always choose. We can stay in the pity party. We could do that. That's your choice.
Right.
But if you don't want to stay in the pity party, if you're done with the pity party, then maybe you choose freedom. Maybe you choose, precision. maybe whatever the gift is, I want to choose that. I'm going to see how I can move forward in that energy with that intention.
I love that.
And that shifts the energy.
Oh my God. I love that. I want to like do all the things now. I'm
You're
like,
like, hold
go
on, let me
find
get
my
the
astrological chart. I'm getting my human design book out. I'm gonna pull my gene keys. I just did earlier, guilty information here. Hannah came and did a session for my group, and she shared a link to get a comprehensive evolutionary human design report, which I
You did
got.
it. Oh, it's so good. I love that one.
Yeah. So yeah, I printed it out. I'll have a look at it later. I feel like I've got a bunch of this stuff floating around here, there, and everywhere, but this is awesome. And you know, is there anything you want to share, like just kind of like in the wrap up of talking about all of this, that can be impactful, or maybe like next steps people can take if they are their eyes are open and they're like, oh, hang on, I need to know more.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I mean, that was me. That was totally me, right? It was like once my eyes were open and I got, just a little drip of information, I was like, oh my God, where's more? I need more. And there are thousands and thousands of sources out there. They're not all great. They're not all accurate. Right. Because human design is starting to be more popular. There are more people out there talking about it. So first and foremost, it's, find good information. The report that I linked for you, they do a great job. I think, and really giving the basics. So if you've never pulled your chart, go do that first. I use Genetic Matrix, just like it's spelled, geneticmatrix.com. That's what I use for myself. For all of the software, when I pull other people's charts and Gene Keys charts and all that kind of stuff. But you can also get a free report there, and get a little bit of information. And then I do share a lot of information. So there's a lot of information on my YouTube channel, where I've talked about, basics of human design, the basics of the Gene Keys prosperity sequence. So that's all there. It's free for now. So go grab that.
For now.
Free for now.
Free for now. Just going to say, because we've been talking about Hannah, doing some stuff, changing some things. So we want to get it free for now.
Get it while it's hot. It's been there for, a year. And it's amazing just to look at YouTube and to see how many those videos get watched all the time. It's very interesting. Because people are hungry, was what we said, at the beginning of it. People are hungry for this information. So if you are feeling this pull to like, I need to know more about this. I want to understand how to run my business in better alignment with who I am. I teach that. I help people with that. Again, I utilize that in financial planning. Not with investment management, other than like making sure that your financial decisions are running through your system in the right way and you're really like making decisions that are right for you. But in the financial planning process, we bring all of that in. And then on the coaching side, literally just getting your business in line with who you are makes all the difference. I know, like from my own, again, 6'2", my own experience has been really impactful. And I've worked with lots of clients at this point doing the same thing, helping them really get better into alignment with their own design, with their own voice. So yeah, go check out the stuff on YouTube. If you want to meet with me, I love to meet people. We can do a connection call and see if what I do is helpful. And if I'm not the right fit, I have so many friends who are so smart and so great, and I'm happy to pass along referrals as well. So yeah, that's where it starts.
Awesome. Thank you so much. This is amazing. Love it. And I'm just so grateful to have you in my life and that you take the time today to share with our listeners. So thanks, Hannah.
Thank you, Michelle. It's been awesome.
Awesome. And so I'll put everything in the show notes, all of Hannah's contact details and everything you can find down there. And yeah, we'll connect again. I'll bring you back. We'll talk about some other stuff. I don't know.
Absolutely. Let's do it.
Okay, perfect. So, did you learn a lot in that episode? Are you intrigued by human design? Did it tick some boxes for you that you want to learn some more? I highly suggest you connect with Hannah. She is, like, in no diminishing of the value of these words, the queen of human design or one of the queens. I've learned so much from her personally, and just, love this conversation. One of the things that really jumped out at me in our conversation was how we talked about how sometimes some paths that we take feel harder. And this is actually because we're probably not aligned in that path, right? We've stepped out of our alignment with our human design and maybe into our not self. And so it's our job just to notice that, right? So where I'm at right now, I have some frustrations in my life and in my business. And frustration is my not self. So what does that tell me about the situation? It means that there's something here that's no longer aligned with my human design. I think it also is important where I'm at right now to recognize that, I'm at an age, I've had my Chiron return. It's also a time where in my astrological chart, it's a freeing up energy. It's a kind of like moving on to the next chapter energy. And maybe that's why I'm doing the Rich Life Revolution, because that's what I love to talk about. So it's my job not to create weird stories around it. It's just my job to notice my not self reaction, which is frustration. And girl, I have a lot of it right now. And try to move back into alignment, thinking about the steps I can take to be aligned in my purpose, in my energy, in my design, in what I want out of life. If this resonated with you, I would love to hear it. I would highly encourage you to reach out to me in my DMs, slide on in. Let me know what's going on. Let me know your feedback. You can find me on all the social media at Michelle B. Cooper, and I love hearing from our listeners. Thanks for joining me, and tune in next week for a solo episode where you'll dive into my brain and we'll talk about some amazing shit. Let's get started. Thanks for hanging out with me. I hope you got at least one gold nugget today. Be sure to grab your copy of the Rich Life Revolution workbook to help you set the foundation for your next level of wealthy. Get it now at richliferevolution.ca, and I'll see you later.